He sensed everything: his youth, his migration, his solace, loneliness, longing, presence, even dubiety. Most of all, he could feel his future. It was staring at him from every seat at the table. He called this meeting and everyone came. They came to unveil what would put an end to his chaos and confusion. To his right, an unknown man in a derby and the thickest of beards. A man who routinely sat in front of Grands and his crowd at the track. A heavy drinking man who never ran out of words. A man who despised his wife and seemed to feel at liberty to share his domestic tribulations in public. Costello acknowledged he did not know him. The grisly illusion raised his glass to the table. Here's to airing your grievances out loud, handfuls of 10-penny nails, and catching the attention of those around you, so they know you're ready for battle. A melange of responses slurred through the table. Costello heard, "Hear, hear," "Skol," "Cheers," and "Salute." He sat quietly as his acumen seemed to orbit above him, giving him pockets of awareness. Thoughts raced through his head while he possessed clarity. Are these folks a representation of the stages of his life? They may be personifications of sins. Had he round up characters throughout his life who he saw as sinful? They could be personalities filling voids he felt were empty. People he envied for their bravado he could never quite develop. Suddenly, his mind became blank and their existences were enough. Determining a reason was futile. He looked to his left. There sat a man in his early 20s, very indescribable. He raised his glass. Here's to hiding in a coat closet during an orgy, framing every picture you take, and sending postcards to strangers telling them you wish they knew how lucky they were. Another blurred roar of responses around the table. Costello again sat quietly. The grisly fellow hollered at Costello. "Drink up, son. We may just have to leave you if you don't." Costello felt the need to grab a look of approval from Grands before responding to this man. He sensed each being reminding him Grands wasn't there with them. He acquiesced and took a big drink from his pint of tequila. He looked at the young man who gave the last toast and suddenly found a fire in his belly. He opened a beer and chugged down half the can. The final guest sat directly across from Costello. The blurry fellow was back. His litigant. The one who loves to suck the alpha from Costello. Costello addressed him before he could fire off a toast. "You are the final guest. There's only 3 of you. I heard 4 responses. Whoever's hiding, I'd like them to show themselves," Costello said. The grainy illusion sighed and replied, "That was your salud, Aaron. You may not have heard yourself, but we did. You were the one hiding, so come on out. We'd prefer it that way." Costello squeezed his eyes as he felt the last dose of alcohol flow through his blood. "Don't call me Aaron. You're not proctoring this meeting. Present your toast," Costello demanded. "As you wish," he replied. "Here's to purposely broken bones, sharing a casket with your veiled lover, and symbiosis in perpetuity." And Costello shook his head vigorously. He stammered, "Nope, nope, 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 nope. A new one. Not that one. Please, not that one." "That's the only one that matters tonight, Aaron," the shadow replied. Costello experienced rage like he'd never felt. Why is this unknown grainy shadow continually calling him Aaron? And why is he the only one insisting on scratching the itch of that particular toast? To date, Costello knew a man and a woman were murdered and left to rot inside of a locked chest. He also knew sometime 7 years ago, after the murder, he scribed a toast nearly describing those details. He had no recollection of the incident in the parking lot when he unintentionally ran over Tal's arm, breaking it in multiple places. However, he was about to find out. "Aaron, the choices you've made throughout your life have determined many facets of your life. You've woken up to find yourself in precarious situations at times, wondering why you punished yourself in bizarre fashion. The night these 2 were murdered in Seattle, you slipped from the person who kept his dark secrets to himself to a man incapable of managing your enigmatic perfunctory behavior with witnesses. Because of your flawless history, your errors in this might have resulted in their deaths. The dark image became fatherly and began to detail the events of the night Tal and Spencer were murdered. This is why I'm here. Go on. Costello melted into the chair and absorbed the story he dreaded. You let your inhibitions get the best of you and were lured into their home. We know you were convincing yourself it was harmless, but you wanted something unorthodox in your life. You were risking everything to see or do what most people go their lives never seeing or doing. The haunting atmosphere was alluring at first, and then once you realized it was real, you fled. You tried to make the right choice. Then, instead of taking the assist to get back to your hotel and put the night to rest, you found yourself driven back by the mysticism in the Jeep you shouldn't have been driving at all. You drove yourself back to the studio and considered one more shot at allowing yourself to experience the dark side of humanity. This is all something I would have never done, Costello insisted. We all control you when you poison your blood, all three characters replied in concert. Costello slumped down and sighed. Go on. You ran over the man with your Jeep. He begged you to come back inside and help him. He needed you to kill him for stabbing the woman. Now his pleas to help him gave you a sense of reciprocity. You were in waist deep and the water was rising. He made his last plea to you and turned to walk back towards the studio. You watched closely as he lumbered back towards the woman. You were once again fascinated and simply allowed yourself to be lured. Then as he approached the door, you saw him as a wounded dog, holding his broken bone protruding from his skin and trudging slowly, suffering from profound shock and grief. You looked at a right hand gripping a tire iron. We want you to know, this wasn't your decision-making, Aaron. The tire iron was driven into the back of his head. His lifeless body fell to the ground and was dragged into the home. The woman lying lifeless in the bed, he had killed her. Whether intentional or unintentional, we'll never know. The voice continued. Once we allowed your darkness to let this man die, we felt your own evil engage. However, it was a duality of revenge and darkness. You liked the woman. She made you feel safe. Whether the man intended to kill her, he was yours to slaughter. She laid lifeless in the casket that left you so smitten. Her angelic existence would have helped you carry her, but you felt they belonged in the casket. The man was clearly too large. The only way he would fit would be to break his body and twist him into the box. So I locked them inside? Costello asked. You aren't sloppy, Aaron. You're meticulous. You left a mystery and it proved effective. We all ensured you would wake up the next day and go on to live the rest of your life without fear of anyone knowing what you'd done. You should be thanking us. I murdered a man who killed a woman with whom he was having an affair? Why didn't I just leave him to his devices? I suppose at this point it doesn't matter. I'm responsible for at least his death, and I took away closure from anyone close to them, Costello said with a sense of mortification. Aaron, we don't operate in the realm of morality or rationale. Your choice to dabble in some dark carnality was beyond our control. You wanted to come sit with us, and all the while, we were right there with you. Your free will became enamored with the reality in front of you. You never tested yourself in that environment, always right here in the safety of your four walls with your sweltering agoraphobia. How are any of us to know what would happen in the wild? Regardless, we did our best to ensure you came away clean, and for 7 years, not a peep. Unfortunately, you demanded we give you our best recollection from that night. Now you have it. Costello's senses began to drift. The voices were distant, his vision blurry and dark, Attention was in and out. He was blacking out. Not one more word was uttered by the voices. His collective interrogation came to a conscious end. However, he sat alone at the table while his camera continues recording.